clients in medical malpractice cases can come into us with some mistakes that have already occurred, and you want to try to prevent that. One of the most important things that can be done is if you suspect that a doctor has not treated you properly and has caused harm, or a hospital or a nurse or anyone else, go consult an attorney right away. People don't go to healthcare providers unless they trust them. And you wouldn't go to a doctor's office and take your clothes off unless you trusted them. And one of the things that our clients struggle with is overcoming that trust when they think something has gone wrong. And so they continue frequently to see a doctor or a nurse or another practitioner despite thinking something has gone wrong because they trust them. Go get advice early on, because it is important to start analyzing whether or not there's a problem. The biggest issue we get into in medical malpractice cases is people wait too long. There is a very short statute of limitations, and that's a legal phrase that most people don't understand. A statute of limitations is a period of time that the legislature puts on any type of case that limits how long someone has to bring a claim. And in a medical malpractice case, that's 2 years, but the problem is there are benchmarks that can pass before that 2-year period of time that can injure your ability to prove your case and bring it timely. In medical malpractice cases, clients have to do certain things before filing a lawsuit, and if those things aren't done before the 2-year benchmark, then you may not be allowed to bring your lawsuit. So the biggest issue in medical malpractice cases is go get help early. You need to get advice if you think you've suffered a serious injury or a death as a result of malpractice. And sitting and waiting can allow the time to lapse that may cause a lawyer to say, I'm sorry, too much time has lapsed. I don't have time now to investigate this case. We're too close to the 2-year statute. Many reputable firms won't take a case if a certain period of time has passed, meaning once they're inside of a year or 6 months, they won't look at a case. The other things that can happen in a medical malpractice case is talking to people that you shouldn't talk to. When a risk manager shows up in your hospital room or calls you at home and wants to talk to you and interview you, it's usually because they think some mistake has been made that has caused harm to you or your loved one. And you have the right to talk to them, but they are trained to try to gather information that is going to help the hospital or the doctor or the nurse that made the mistake, not to help you. And so if a risk manager comes to interview you or comes to talk to you, you should be polite, but don't get into who did what, who said what, or get into any type of substantive interview. You want to talk to a lawyer and have them advise you before you talk to that risk manager any further. Same thing with an insurance adjuster or a lawyer for a healthcare provider. They're trained to try to get you to say things and do things that would harm your case or your loved one's case. And so that is a red flag where you need to immediately get legal advice. The additional thing you need to do is if you have an injury or your loved one has an injury, you need to be diligent in following your doctor's advice or your therapist's advice. You do not want to miss appointments. You need to, if they say not to go to work or not to lift a 50-pound box or whatever it is, you need to follow that advice, because if you're not following the advice and your injury worsens, they're going to blame you and not blame the malpractice that may have occurred. These are very difficult cases. They're tough cases because of the nature of medical malpractice and proving that someone did something wrong when it's not something the normal layperson understands. And if you create more impediments in your case, many lawyers will then have a tough time deciding whether or not they're going to accept it.